Hello and welcome to Grade 10 English Lessons. This is Unit 5, Episode 1. In this unit, we're going to learn about sports psychology. However, in this episode, we're going to learn new vocabulary items, as well as some reading comprehension tips to help us tackle reading comprehension questions. Now, to start the lesson, look at the picture. Can you guess the sporting event here? We have a similar building in Kuwait. Can you guess what that building is and what it's used for? Now, which sports are played here? If you think about it, for example, in Kuwait, we have one stadium and it's used for one type of sport. I think you can figure the answer out for that one. Now, open your student's book to page 40 and look at this article. Now, what is the topic of the article based on the title? The title says, Why the Paralympics Matter. So what do you think are the ideas inside this text? First of all, we have the word Paralympics. It's a noun and it means an international sports competition for people with physical disabilities, just like the images you see. Now, what kind of information do you think will be included in this article? You can look at the subtitles and you'll have an idea of the type of information that we'll be facing or we'll be learning in this text. Now, before we go ahead to read the text, first, let's take some reading comprehension tips. First of all, go through the questions first and then read the passage. Doing this will help you understand what the topic could be about, and when you go back to the reading, you'll be able to find your answers a lot quicker. Do not get stuck on particular words. If you do, I recommend that you read the sentence again to understand the context, and that will help you understand the meaning, or at least guess the meaning of the word you're stuck on. Opening and closing paragraphs require extra focus. Write your answers in full sentences. Reading the first sentence of a paragraph will give you the main idea of that paragraph. This technique will help you find your answers a lot faster when you want to tackle the reading comprehension questions. I also recommend that while you read the text, underline or circle the keywords or possible answers. Now I'll give you two different techniques when it comes to reading the text. The first technique is called skimming, and the second one is called scanning. For skimming, it means reading a text quickly to get the general idea. However, scanning means reading a text quickly to find a specific piece of information. Now, if you're wondering what types of questions you'll be facing in the reading comprehension, these are the questions. First of all, you'll be facing the multiple choice questions, and they come as follow. First of all, we have the best title or the main idea. The second question would be about the vocabulary, and it comes in either of these three forms. Either it will ask you about the synonyms, the closest meaning to a certain word, antonyms, the opposite meaning to a certain word, or definitions, the exact meaning of a specific word. After that, we'll have the word reference. For example, the question would say, the underlined word they in paragraph X refers to. Number 4, locating explicit information. That means the answer is clearly mentioned in the text by searching for the correct keyword. Number 5, negative factual information. And they come in 3 different forms. The first one, according to the passage, which of the following is not true? So you'll have 3 true statements that were mentioned inside the text, but only one statement that is not mentioned or that is not true. All the following statements are true, except. Last but not least, according to the passage, all the following statements are false, except. So you'll have 3 false statements. They weren't there inside the text. However, you'll have 1 true statement that was mentioned. Last but not least, you'll have the purpose of the writer or the moral lesson. After we're done with the multiple choice questions, you'll face the productive questions, and they come in 2 different forms as well. For the first one, we have the explicit question, and it means the answer is clearly mentioned in the text. For the implicit question, the answer is implied and not given explicitly in the text. Now, let's look at the questions before we start reading the text. Question number 1, give another title for this article. Question number 2, the opposite of the underlined word observe in the 3rd paragraph, line 29, is. What does the underlined pronoun them in the first paragraph line 5, refer to? According to paragraph 3, how did the Kuwaiti athletes draw the press's attention? Number 5, according to the article, all the following statements are false except. And the last one, the purpose of the writer is to. Now, let's go ahead and skim through the text. To remind you, skimming means reading the text quickly to get the general idea of the text. You can pause the video to read the text or skim through it. Now let's start with the multiple choice questions. Question number 1, from A, B, C, and D, choose the correct answer. Give another title for this article. The title is more general, keep that in mind. Details are not required in this question. So is the answer, or the best title, Fasting During Beijing Games 2008, Kuwait Disabled Sports Club, The Importance of the Paralympics, or Competitions for the Disabled? Now, if you notice, we have a new vocabulary item here, disabled. Now, disabled are the opposite of the able-bodied. You and I, we can move, we can use our arms and legs. That means we are able-bodied. The disabled are the opposite. Now, when it comes to able-bodied, it's an adjective, and it means used to refer to someone who is healthy and has no illness or injury. The image you see highlights that. For example, the gym can be used by both able-bodied and disabled people. Now, if you go back to the text, we have the main title, Why the Paralympics Matter. So this will help you understand what another title could be that could also fit this text. So the answer would be C, the importance of the Paralympics. Excellent job. If you got this answer correctly, good job. If not, try again in the next one. Question number 2, the opposite of the underlined word observe in the third paragraph, line 29, is. Now, to remind you, this is a vocabulary question, and it's asking you for the antonym, the opposite of the underlined word, observe. Now, before we go through the text, let's take the meaning of the word observe. First of all, it's a verb, and it means to fulfill or comply with a social, legal, ethical, or religious obligation, or to notice something attentively. For example, you should observe the speed limit while driving. So, is the opposite of the underlined word observe? Ignore, overpass, forget, or miss? Go back to the text, look at the paragraph that has the underlined word, and read the sentence. Based on the context, you'll be able to understand what the opposite of the underlined word observe could be. So the answer is ignore. Excellent job. Now, what does the underlined pronoun them in the first paragraph, line 5, refer to? This is a word reference question. So does them refer to competitions, Paralympics, athletes, or patients? Go back to the text. You can see the paragraph and the underlined word them right there. Now, when it comes to word reference, if you don't understand the context in the same sentence the word is in, then I recommend that you read the previous sentence that comes before it. If you do that for this question, you'll be able to understand the meaning or what them refers to. So the answer is patience. Excellent job. Now, to take some vocabulary items, we have the word neurologist. It's a noun, and it means a doctor who studies and treats diseases of the nerves. When it comes to the word rehabilitation, it's also a noun, and it means the process of returning to a healthy or good way of life. For example, Dana took up cycling as part of her rehabilitation. Now, let's go to question number 4. According to paragraph 3, how did the Kuwaiti athletes draw the press's attention? This is asking you for implicit information. That means the answer is not inside the text. However, you'll understand it from the text. So is the answer A, during Ramadan, the Kuwaiti athletes were patient? B, during Ramadan, the Kuwaiti athletes were fasting during the competition? C, 8 Kuwaiti athletes attended the Paralympics? Or D, the Kuwaiti athletes took part in 20 sports. If you go through the text, you'll find the answer in this paragraph. So the answer is B. During Ramadan, the Kuwaiti athletes were fasting during the competition. Now, question number 5. According to the article, all the following statements are false except. So this is negative factual information. We're going to have 3 statements that are false and only 1 statement that will be true. So which one is the true statement? The Paralympics needs high level of performance. The Paralympics is for elite athletes with disability. The Paralympics consists of 20 sports only. Or the Paralympics is a competition which consists of equestrian and sailing events. We have a new vocabulary item here, equestrian. Here it's a noun, and it means connected with the riding of horses. This is the text. Scan through it. To remind you, scanning means reading the text quickly to find a specific piece of information. The answer is B. The Paralympics is for elite athletes with disability. Well done. The last question. The purpose of the writer is to. This is to inform, or this is about a moral lesson. So why did the writer write this text? To encourage the readers to help the disabled, to display the various sports of Paralympics readers, to show the readers how disabled athletes have great determination, or D, to inform the readers how the Paralympics first started. If you go back through the text, you'll find that the purpose of the writer is to C, to show the readers how disabled athletes have great determination. Excellent job. Now that we're done with the multiple choice questions, we have the productive questions. So, with reference to the passage, answer the following questions. What skills are important to athletes, whatever their abilities? This is implicit information. That means you're not going to find the answer inside the text explicitly. However, you'll understand the answer, or you'll understand how to answer this. And pay attention to the following. We have the word skills. It's plural, so you need to mention more than one skill. So from the text, you understand that the skills are, they need to be patient, they should have a strong will, self-discipline, and stamina. Excellent job. Here we have a new vocabulary item, self-discipline. It's a noun, and it means the ability to make yourself do things you know you should do, even when you don't want to do it. Another word for self-discipline is willpower. For example, it takes a lot of self-discipline to go jogging in winter. Now, what are the pressures of being a world champion? This is also implicit information. And pay attention to the word pressures. It's plural, and that means you need to write more than one pressure. So the answer is, the champion's lifestyle changes completely. He or she must know how to deal with the mass media, and there will be no more privacy. Now let's take some vocabulary items before we finish this episode. We have the word adversity, which is a noun. It means difficult situations and unpleasant experiences. Another word for adversity is success or luck. For example, the disabled athlete did not let adversity stop him from competing in the Olympics. The next word is phenomenon. It's a noun. A fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen, especially one whose cause or explanation is in question. Another word for phenomenon is event. For example, gravity is a natural phenomenon. Now we have the word physiotherapy. It's a noun, and it means the treatment of muscle stiffness, pain, and injury. The next one, virtue. It's a noun. It means behavior showing high moral standards. Another word for virtue is honesty. Now, in this episode, we extracted relevant information after reading a passage. We tackled multiple choice questions, productive questions, and we also used new vocabulary items and sentences. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.